paper. Before I start talking, I'd like to thank a lot of people. First, I have my family to thank. I have my brother to thank for a lot of, he's more of a role model to me than I think he realizes. Yes, you. I'd like to thank the aunts and uncles that came out and supported me through all this with their very positive attitude. My grandma over there, who also came out all the way from Gardena. It's a long way. My neighbors who came out.
Where did Joyce come from?
Huh?
Where did Joyce come from?
Oh, Joyce, she came all the way from Japan. So.
You win the award.
Just across the ocean. My neighbors over there, I'd like to thank them for supporting me through all that as well. My friend, Mrs. Ambrose over there, who is a very, very smiling and very helpful person. Small group members over there I'd like to thank as well. Mrs. King for being the Den mom through all the ads she worked to. She was pregnant for a little bit of their time. I also like to thank Kevin Paxman and Nathan King for being good friends as well, so I'm sure that they're happy they got their thanks. Just for you, Kevin, I did it for you. I'd like to thank Mr. Luttrell for being my LT. He's not here, like Kevin said earlier, but I'd really like to thank him. He did a lot for my project. My Scout Masters through my career, Mr. Martin, Mr. Lane, Mr. Logan Messini, they are really influential for my years being a Scout. And all the ASMs as well, like Mr. Melton, my dad, Mr. Shields, whole cast and crew of other Scouting members who just were really helpful during my Scouting career. And of course, I'd like to thank all the other Scout members sitting in the back there. They didn't get a table, but that's okay. They're sitting through here, they're toughing it out. As Scouts normally do. And of course, my mom and my dad, I'd really love to thank for all their support and pushing me and pushing me and pushing me to get and pulling too. Now, I guess normally this would be the part where I say something sappy about Scouting has changed me in so many ways, and I'm going to go into my whole life story about how I changed through this way. And Scouting has changed me. I've learned a lot of skills, but I think I'd rather stick to just saying a couple examples of like how I would send my tent partner, Jonathan Martin, to go kill spiders in the tent because I was too much of a wuss to go into the tent without knowing that my tent was 100% bug-free. Or at another summer camp where I was one of the few lucky Scouts to not get sick after a whole bunch of Scouts got sick, where my own tent partner was like one of the worst cases, and I'm sitting lying in my tent wondering, let's see here. Of course, one of my most memorable times was when I came back from a summer camp and I got to meet Weird Al in a gas station, oddly enough. But I think one of the most memorable stories has got to be my first camp out. It was the end. It was Saturday night, Sunday morning. I'm going to tell this story whether Jonathan wants me to or not. But Jonathan got a little dehydrated at the camp out. And so he threw up in the middle of the tent. And this isn't one of those like wooden base tents. No, this is like one of those like materials that likes to soak in liquids. So he wakes me up in the middle of the night and says, "Hey, can you go get help, Evan? Go get help." And I'm sitting there like, just 5 more minutes. but I get out of the tent and I walk over to the ASMs. But me being the insecure little spurt that I am, I'm like, okay, do I go in? No, I don't want to bother him, but he just threw up. No, I don't want to go in there. I'm too scared. And I'm doing that for like 5 minutes, sitting outside while poor Jonathan is suffering inside his own tent. But eventually, I do work up the courage to ask one of the Mr. Martin actually, to come and help his sons. Yeah. But aside from all those funny stories of me screwing around and maybe getting screwed around on, scouting has really taught me a lot about what it actually means to be a leader. A leader does not need to go out and be the top member who is doing 90% of the work, who is hammering all the nails or getting all the paperwork, getting all the paperwork done. There's a lot of, a leader doesn't necessarily have to be the one working the most. The leader just needs to be the one making sure that everything works out fine and that it can go a lot better than that. So I would like to think that scouting has done a lot more for me than I would realize, and I just hope that it'll do more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our scouts and special guests on their welcoming speeches. Now, Mr. Jim Sakai has prepared a slideshow of our scouts and their journeys.
Yeah. This is not in the projector.
Oh, so it went, yeah. Oh, all of a sudden I feel so you feel the earlier.
Yeah, it's my computer.